Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Dan and Becky.
Hi.
And this is season 2, but it's actually on YouTube. It's going to be season 1
Right.
of Seeing God in the Everyday, as we are now doing a video broadcast of the podcast. Okay.
Sure.
So we decided this summer, we kind of took a break. We kind of were, it's been about 3 months since I've done a podcast. And, but during that time, we've been talking and we've been thinking about how we want to move forward with seeing God in the everyday. I started this back in January. Actually, it started in December, but my first podcast started in January. And I wanted to kind of just focus on, the things that I was seeing around me and how I saw God moving in the world around me. And so many times we get kind of tunnel visioned, we get kind of blocked to what God is actually doing, and we miss. And I think there's so many times God's trying to reveal himself to us in a way, and we just don't see it. And even through things like entertainment, things like just music, things like just everyday, walking down the street,
Right.
God is revealing himself to us, and I believe sometimes we miss it because we're not looking for it. So that's how season 1 of the podcast started, but I wanted to change some things up. I wanted to do some things differently, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of go more in depth of who God is and what is God revealing. And I felt that under the way I was doing it, we really couldn't do that. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to add Becky, my wife, because I think that it will help, number one, see things differently from different angles. Obviously, you're a woman, you're a wife and a mother, and you have different giftings that God has given you. And I wanted to invite you on to be a part of the show, to be, kind of a different voice and a different, set of eyes, basically, of seeing God in the everyday. And first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're with us. And we want to tell you that this is going to be a complete learning process for us. We started the podcast. We actually just finished recording the podcast and a video vlog with it, but it did not. The video part of it didn't happen. It didn't go into and I can see like my seeing God in the everyday is like going on my head. So we're learning all these things as we go. So there's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some different things like. We're doing a second vlog. So if you listen to the podcast, it's a little different than the vlog this week, as we figure out the different technical things that just seem to not be able to figure out tonight. But we wanted to also do this vlog so that we could put something up on YouTube so that you could start watching. Plus, we wanted to do a nice introduction of you and
Hello.
being a part. And but we wanted to also I wanted to go a little more in depth. So first, hi Becky.
Hi, babe.
You want to introduce yourself and who you are?
I think you've done that.
Oh, I did? Okay.
I'm Becky. I'm his wife.
So we've been married for, I don't know,
Almost 30.
9 years.
It's 29 years.
Gee whiz. We were definitely those foolish kids who got married young. And but as you're gonna find out as we talk and we do things, is that we're very serious about our marriage.
Yes.
We realize it's a lot of work, and we realize that not every day we're gonna wake up and have fresh breath and look like we just came off a modeling thing. We're gonna wake up some mornings and be just real. And
most mornings
it requires work. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, because we're going to talk about our marriage, and we're going to talk about children and raising children. We have 4 children and all this stuff, because God reveals himself in all these things.
He does.
And he shows his character and who he is in the everyday things of our life. So Becky, I want you to share just a second of how we kind of came to the understanding that we were going to do this together.
Absolutely. One of the things that 30 years of marriage has taught us is that most things go better when we do them as a team.
Right.
And one of the things that we've started doing recently is we've started walking in the mornings. And those walks have turned into wonderful times of reflection, of observation, of hashing through the things that God's doing with me, the things that God's doing with Dan, the things that God's doing in our kids, in our family, in the world around us, in our work lives. We've seen this year in particular, we have really seen God do some crazy, amazing things in our vocational lives.
Right.
And these walks have been a time where it has become so purposeful in not only sharing those things with each other, but really encouraging one another to see more of who God is and go, hey, wait a second. You're telling me that great story about what happened today to you at work. Do you see God's hand in that? Do you see what he did?
Right.
We stop frequently as we're walking to take pictures of our lakefront, to take pictures of the sunrise, to take pictures of the bird that's sitting perched right in the top of the tree singing his entire repertoire, because we see God in that. So us doing this together was really kind of born out of, yes, the podcast as it was before was an example of how God intersects our everyday in everything. But when you can be that iron that sharpens iron for one another, when you can share the testimonies, when you can build on them and expound on them and go, wow, I saw this in what God was doing there, but you saw something completely different. He was doing more than I even realized.
Right.
And it's a blessing to have somebody to bounce that off of. And so we kind of wanted to share that with y'all.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool to have those moments to be able to kind of be vulnerable and share those things with each other. Because sometimes it's kind of crazy, some of the ideas we come up with, like, aliens and stuff. But I mean, it's really good to be able to talk those things out, to actually verbalize them, to get them out in the open, and then kind of look at them differently and stuff. So we kind of do that very well, I think. After, like saying 30 years, we kind of do that where we talk about these things, and we want to let you know it's nothing like we've gone to school to learn how to see God and certain things. It's been more of we're curious people, and we like to see what is happening. We like to see how stuff is working. Right. We like to see how, I love documentaries and archaeology and all this other stuff. So I like to dig into things and look at them and what is the purpose behind them, what is the meaning behind them. And I think that so many times God's revealing himself to us.
Yes.
And we miss it because we don't know, or we're not willing to go that far, or we think we can't figure it out because it's too far beyond us. And I think that the idea of our podcast and our video time and this is that we want to share with you basically how to see God in the everyday, but also to, when you do see it, to enjoy it and to make it a part of your life. You mentioned something in the podcast about how Adam and Eve, when they fell in the garden, and how the story that everyone looks at is that God banished them from the garden. I mean, that's how it's told, that God looked at them and he cursed the snake and the serpent, and then he told the woman that she would have pain in childbirth, and the man he would have to work for every day in his life, and then they were banished out of the, and that's kind of how it's told. But we're totally missing what the actual heart of God was. And
if you read the text itself, that he inspired himself and said every word is important. He says that he did that lest they reach out and take from the tree of life and be left unrepentant, unredeemed, forever in that state. It was a protection so that he could enact his plan of redemption.
Right.
You know, and we miss that.
Yeah. It's an act of love.
Absolutely.
And it shows God's character and who he is and how much he loves and cares about us. You know, and again, we look at what we're missing out on.
We look at how it makes us feel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
Made me feel alone.
I read
and I was
story,
scared and I was banished and I was,
but we're missing.
Feelings lie.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we want to do with this podcast and with this show that we're going to be doing here on YouTube is we want to help you see God in your everyday. As we see God in our everyday and kind of come to you with stories and come to you with different things and trials and troubles. And, we're living at the end of 2020. This is the fall of 2020. And it's been difficult. Worldwide, there's been a pandemic. Many people have gotten sick. There's been lots of craziness that have happened with the economy and in the United States and all over the world. And it's been difficult. But, you and I have talked about this, is that even though it's been very difficult, this has been a great year for us.
It has.
God has opened so many doors for us. We're doing things differently now, and we're in a place now that we could only have. Matter of fact, back in January, February, were things that we were hoping for.
Right.
And so now we're coming through this pandemic, and we're seeing God just move in a mighty way. We're seeing God move in our family in a mighty way, and our kids, and we're excited moving forward. And I think it has to do with how we're seeing God's character even in the midst of the pandemic, even in the midst of the crazy 2020. We're seeing how God is moving, how his hand is in this, and how he even turns the things that the enemy wants for bad, the enemy wants for harm, God is turning it for good in our lives. And we want to encourage you with that, and we want to share that with you and help you see God in your everyday.
I think that's one of the big important purposes too of beginning to intentionally look for God in your everyday as he reveals himself, because it gives you that bedrock. When Dan says that we're seeing God move and seeing incredible things happen, and God's pushing forward some things that we had only dreamed of, those things are happening. But the hard stuff is happening too.
Right.
The hard stuff has happened in our family. We have had family loss. Lost both of my grandparents this year. We have had family economic difficulties. We've had job loss. We've had job regained. We have dead cars in the driveway. It happens.
Yeah.
But if you can discipline yourself to begin to see God and to really build that relationship, you begin to know that all that stuff has purpose.
Right.
All that hard is endurable, and it gives you that peace that passes all understanding that the scripture talks about, because you know that your peace isn't found in whether your car is running or not.
Yep.
It's not found in whether life's going as planned. It's not found in your emotions and your pain and your hurt. The peace that passes all understanding is found in that relationship with the one who is himself peace.
Right. Yeah, and so we're excited about all of this. We're excited about what's happening and what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a lot of different things. We do have our podcast, Seeing God in the Everyday, which you can get and download on any of the podcast channels from iTunes. Well, it's not iTunes anymore. Apple Podcast to iHeartRadio podcasts. We're on all of them. So you can just go type in Seeing God in the Everyday and download our podcast. Season 1 is completely up, so you can download all of my Season 1. And then you can also download Seasons 2 and with Becky and I together. And then we're going to be doing our vlogging here with you. This will be once a week that we're going to come to you. And we're hoping that it's going to match the podcast. That's the goal. But
not for episode 1, though.
Obviously not for episode 1. But you're getting the same gist as kind of what we're talking about in episode 1.
There's an expanded version with more discussion. Go check it out.
But we're also hoping to do a lot more on the YouTube channel, where we're going to be doing some other vlogging, different other videos that we're going to be doing. I've got a lot of videos of our trips to Kenya and my trips to Ecuador and Guatemala that I'll be putting up on Seeing God in the Everyday. And right now, if you go and click on it after you're watching this, you're like, I want to watch another video. This is so awesome. I've got a video of
You're
me.
very, very kind is what you are. That's what you are.
I've got a video of me going down to Ecuador and feeding the iguanas down in Ecuador, because that's
with lettuce.
Yeah, with lettuce
in your mouth.
That's what you do when you go to Ecuador. You feed iguanas with lettuce in your mouth. But again, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this. We are hoping and excited, like I said, for what we're doing, and we also want to hear from you. You can write us at seeinggodintheeveryday@gmail.com. Let us know what you're seeing and how God is impacting your life. And we'd love to interact with you through email. You can also leave notes down in the thing on YouTube, and we will get those and respond to you also in those. And please subscribe, tell your friends, and let's have and build a community of people who are excited to see God moving around. And it's like I said, it's one of those things. I think we get so bogged down in life sometimes. Yeah. We get so enamored in what we're doing on our everyday that a lot of times we miss that the birds in the trees are singing a song, and that song is for us to hear. It's not just coincidence that we're hearing that song, but that song is there for us to hear. It's music to our ears as well as music to God's ears.
Right.
But it's music for our ears to hear and enjoy, and it's something where God can bless us, even in something as simple as a bird singing in a tree. So thank you again. Please subscribe, and this is going to be a fun ride. Be patient with us as we figure out technical things.
The camera's right there.
Yeah, be patient with us as we figure out technical things and all this other stuff. And we're going to learn this and hopefully have a lot of fun doing it. And we want you to come along with us. All right? Well, God bless you guys. And we'll be seeing God in our everyday. And we want to encourage you to see God in your everyday too. All right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.